previously on the Elevate With Us podcast. Founder and owner of Align Money Mastery, Bruce Breedlove. He's been here before. If you haven't seen his other talks with us, please tune in.
Last time we were here was January, and we were really, my messaging then was how to win with money in 2024.
Right.
You should really be entering every home you're showing and saying, why wouldn't I buy this house?
Absolutely.
Now, I will say, I have been loudly screaming from the rooftops basically since spring of 2021 that real estate investing does not make sense right now, and I still firmly believe that.
Sure.
Because in our portfolio, we have 5 rental homes, and I bought them with house hacking with the cheapest mortgages possible.
Sure.
And I'm getting pinched. I mean, just since January 1, our rental margin, get this, monthly is down $900 a month because of taxes and insurance.
Of course.
So it's real estate investors out there, I don't believe you. Let's see your P&L. Show me your P&L. But anyway, I agree with you because it's not going to be like this forever. And I see it too because we coach a fair amount of real estate agents as well. But real estate agents aren't abnormal in that they're not planning for the future. They're not saving for an emergency.
Sure.
It's just they're unique because of a couple key reasons, right? They're solopreneurs, most of them. They're 1099, and if you don't have an LLC and run it as an S corp, definitely reach out.
Yeah, please. It's such a mistake.
Yeah, and so, but the good thing is they have unlimited earning potential. In what job do you have unlimited earning potential?
That's why I say it's a gift.
Yep.
I mean, it really, really is.
Yep.
Now you got to be sure that you've partnered with somebody, whether it's your broker or your team leader, whoever it is, that is there to help you with these conversations.
Yes.
Because no one did it for me. I figured it out because I read a book. Mm-hmm. And I don't, their agents don't do a lot of professional development in that way. And no one teaches them how to run their real estate business like a business. They're like a little business. They're like their own little entity of a business, and they don't get it. And in reference to real estate investing, I'm more thinking about agents that might have the opportunity to flip a home because they get a home, a home comes across their desk that's, in bad shape.
Yep.
The seller might be able to sell it for a really good price because they might owe nothing on it. And that does happen sometimes. And there's a lot of agents that kick themselves or like, man, if last year I had just, not gone on 3 cruises, I would have that $25,000 that I could use as the down payment to buy this home. And I could now triple my money.
Yeah. And really what I'm speaking about, real estate investors are not making money, are the ones that are buying homes to rent them out. Because money is the most expensive it's been since the year 2000, right? Real estate in general, affordability wise, is the worst since 1984. Mm-hmm. But there are still different types of real estate investing that I'm not an authority on at all. Like sub-2 financing, I know about this much.
Is that hard?
It's a bit in my palm.
Like hard money?
It's like, tax lien investing, also like, subject to, there's this whole like section of real estate investing that's like, you make deals with the homeowner, and if they ever sell, they have to sell to you, that kind of stuff.
Correct, yeah. Those are super popular right now.
Yeah, because that's really the way to do it. But then there's also flips, right? You buy a home well above or well below ARV in a questionable area, you force appreciate it with a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 renovation. You got to have that money to do it. And then you sell it for, a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 profit. But that's not necessarily like long-term wealth building. Is it an investment? Do you make money? Yes.
Yeah.
Pay capital gains of 26, 28% on that. So it's as far as like long-term wealth building, the true benefits of real estate investing that are, tax ideal and things like that are hard to do right now.
I agree with you 100%. And so let's just say, let's do a hypo. Let's pretend you're a realtor and you're doing pretty well. You're, closing, $5 to $10 million a year, which is, well above average in Northeast Florida. So you should have, in theory, some extra income. Yeah. You should be able to have, a pretty good savings. What advice can you give them? Like, where should they start? Obviously, it would be great advice to reach out to you and join your money mastery group. But if they're not, what are like 3 or 4 tips you could give them for success?
Yeah. So number one, this is the same conversation we had in January, but no,
it's okay.
It always bears importance because people aren't doing it, right? So number one,
and they might not have listened, so they can listen to this one, being inspired, and then listen to the other one, and then follow both of us.
100%. Obviously, why have you not followed by now? So let's just go ahead. Yeah. All right. So anyway, the question of what do I do with X amount of dollars, the answer is always the same, no matter who you are, right?
I'm so excited.
With a couple nuance if you're a business owner, right? So number one, you want to make sure you have at least $1,000 put away if you're a real estate agent, because that's who I'm talking to right now, in your business checking and in your personal to just pay an emergency, okay? So if you've got that, then I want you to solely focus on paying off debt, okay? But that's debt on your business and then debt personally as well. And you might live there for a couple of years, depending on if you have student loans, if you have credit card debt, whatever. And I'm not talking about mortgages. I'm talking about what we call bad debt, which would be credit cards, car loans, HELOCs, student loans, typically things that finance things that go down in value. We would say that's bad debt.
Sure.
So once and again, you're a business owner, so you're doing both of these simultaneously, right? You're making money through your business, you're saving an emergency fund, both business and personal. Then you're paying off debt, both business and personal. Once you've done that, I want you to save up 6 months of expenses inside your business and inside your personal. And someone might hear that and say, that's a lot of money. It is. But let me tell you what happens when you do that. Your food tastes better, you sleep better, your relationships are better. Something happens, you bust a tire on 95, your heart rate doesn't get as high as it used to.
Right.
That happens, right? Life is just easier. You have less emergencies because at this point, you're looking forward and planning a little bit better. Okay, at that point, you can go balls to the wall investing in both your business and your personal. And by the way, we have agents in our program that have done exactly this. And I can't tell you the relief that a business owner feels when they have a month where, this closing fell through and, but in the market and this and that and interest rates, that they don't have to panic to figure out how am I going to pay my MLS dues or how am I going to pay my, my business credit card off or how am I going to pay my kids, whatever, right? Because they have their emergency funds in place and they can breathe and think, okay, how do I fix this rather than running and grinding to get that next sale to pay for whatever.
Yeah, they're not chasing the commission,
yes.
Right? Which can be a really big problem. Like we sometimes call it commission breath
yes.
or things. They're like, okay, that's okay. And you're just empowering them through the gifts they have, which is remarkable.
Yep. And then after that, I really want you to understand how to invest, right? I want you to invest as soon as possible, but let's pick on crypto. Now, all the Bitcoin fanatics out there, maybe Kyle included, behind the camera, I don't know, we haven't talked about it, but anyway, crypto has gone crazy. But I see a lot
like
of
in a
people,
good way?
In a good. I mean, Bitcoin specifically has gone crazy this year. It's like 67,000 right now. The high, it hit a high of around 70. But my point is, like, there are a lot of speculative investments out there that you could lose a lot of money. And so once you get to that point where your 6-month emergency fund inside business and personal, figure out what you want to invest in. I mean, if you want to start getting into real estate, fine. But now is a really tough time to do it. We, since I was here last, have created a new program inside our company, Align Money Mastery, called Align Elite. What we found is that when people get to this point where they have 6-month emergency fund and they're like, okay, what do I do next? We found another way to meet their needs and teach them how to invest. We are laser focused, and by we, I mean myself and my wife personally, in our personal world, laser focused on financial independence.
Sure.
That's when your investments make as much or more than you need to live, right? So every single dollar that we make that does not go towards normal expenses goes towards saving for financial independence. We are doing dividend investing. You can put $1 on a lot of different types of ETFs and stocks that pay you monthly. Yeah.
What's an ETF?
So an ETF is called an exchange traded fund, and it's essentially a basket of companies like Microsoft, NVIDIA. You can buy all of them.
So how does it differ from the index thing?
So an index is just a measurement of the market.
Oh,
an ETF is a thing that you actually buy. So there can be index ETFs. So that an ETF that tracks an index, which it would the S&P 500. You can buy an S&P 500 ETF.
Okay.
So essentially, you're buying all 500 companies in a basket, and your money goes up or down based on how the.
So is an ETF a stock?
An ETF is a basket full of stocks. It's a bunch of stocks. As little as
grab
10,
bag.
A grab bag, yeah. As little as 10, but as many as thousands.
Okay.
So
and you like these things?
100%, yeah. And so what I'm saying is that there's a way, people are, again, contorting themselves into all these shapes to try to make real estate investing make sense, whereas you can take $1 and buy a covered call ETF that pays you 9% a year without you having to do anything. And people say, well, passive income isn't passive. This is as passive as it's going to get.
Because you just buy it.
Yeah.
And again, I love to say it's like a crock pot.
Yeah.
You put it in there and it does its thing. You don't have to like manage it. If you want to sell it, you can, but you just take, let's just say $1,000, you dump it in there.
Yep.
And you make money on it.
And it pays you 9%. Like one I'm thinking of is a covered call fund, JEPQ. And by the way, this is valuable advice here. Like I don't just tell anyone.
JEPQ.
Yes, JEPQ is an example of what's called a covered call ETF.
Okay.
You can take $1 and put it on JEPQ, and it'll pay you 9% a year, paid monthly. So it not
wait. They send you money?
Yes, they deposit money into your account every single month. Yes.
What is this?
And so we're doing this, and again, we and there's a bunch more, right? And people that join our program, I teach them how to do it, and they learn how to do it and then leave. Like the goal here is not for us to manage your money and you have to stay with us forever. Our whole program is built on financial education, teaching you how to do these things so that you can go off into the world and do it yourself, right? And so that's where we differ from traditional asset managers widely, and that's a slightly separate conversation. We can get into that. But my point is we've created a program called Align Elite.
Okay.
Which is teaching people how to create passive income through normal dividend investing.
Cool.
It's not speculative. It's like we're helping people take their extra money, invest in things that go up in value, and pay them every month. So ourselves, we have $4,600 a month of passive income in our taxable brokerage account on about $420,000 investment. Okay. We're teaching other people how to do it. We are netting about 13.8%, I calculate it every week, yearly paid monthly. And what that means is our dividends pay us about 13.88% a year, but it's paid monthly. We pick all monthly payers, so we get like a monthly paycheck.
Sure.
It's like so stupid easy. So to try to make real estate investing make sense right now in 2024,
I get it.
When you can make 15% on a real estate investment, trust that you don't have to manage and you don't have a tenant and you don't have a roof to replace. This is where the money can be made right now. And by the way, it's in the stock market that has gone up 67% in the last 4 years.
That's doing really well.
Yes.
That's doing really well.
So if you remember, in the original question was that if you were an agent right now listening and you had some extra money, what would you do? That's exactly what I would do. Save up a small emergency fund, then pay off debt, then save up a full emergency fund inside your business and in your personal, and that's of expenses. So if you spend $6,000 in your business a month, I need you to save $36,000 inside your business. And by the way, there's a way we can open up a brokerage account that's tied to your business, so you actually make money on your emergency fund while it's sitting in cash. And we've helped people do that in our program as well. So you've got 6 months of emergency fund. Then and only then I want you to think about investing. I get DMs all the time from people that are like, hey, I have $1,000. Like, how do I double it? Or how do I do this? I don't even answer them, because if someone gives you the answer to that question, you should immediately not trust them, because there's no magic way to double your income.
Your investment. Really what it is you're saying, like, you need to get rid of the gross before you get the good.
Yes.
Is really what you're saying, because the gross is holding you back,
100%.
Right? And so you could invest in the good, but the good isn't good anymore because you're not evening the playing field. Like, your debt's just going to go up and you might make a little bit of money, but you're like chasing it.
Mm-hmm. When credit cards are around 25% yearly, when HELOCs are right at 10-11% yearly, it's hard to out-invest the negative effect of interest that you're paying on debt. And also when you invest, even though I'm saying, yes, we're making 13.88% on our portfolio, and we are, that still is you're accepting risk when you invest. If you have $10, right, and I'm going to put it in the stock market versus pay off a credit card, which is the guaranteed return? It's paying off the credit card.
Absolutely.
Because if you have $10 to pay off on your credit card and your interest rate is 25%, that's a 25% return on every dollar guaranteed.
Right.
Whereas over time, does the stock market go up over time? Yes, it absolutely will. But is it guaranteed? Absolutely not.
Right.
So we teach people to get the guaranteed return, get rid of the debt, stop the negative effect of compound interest on credit cards, HELOCs, et cetera, and then take advantage of the good compound interest on things that go up in value, like stocks, like covered call ETFs, like the investments we've talked about. So then you're at a point where you can responsibly accept the risk of investing, and then the money that you invest will at least outpace inflation. At least that's what we've seen in the last 4 or 5 years.
Crazy.
Far outpace inflation.
Right.
You've done the S&P 500, yes.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So I'm going to ask you your opinion about something. I'm not going to hold you to it. So what do you think's going to happen in the second half of the year? I mean, we did it in the beginning. I had to.
Yeah, no, I really do love this, because I eat, sleep, and breathe, like you said at the top of this, like the economic stuff. I watch it because I feel like it's my job to take this and help people understand how it affects them and break it into bite-sized pieces, throw it on Facebook and, answer comments. I really think that it's irresponsible for the Federal Reserve to even consider lowering interest rates in the calendar year of 2024.
I don't think they're going to.
We've gone from, in December, having 4 to 6 rate cuts in 2024 to maybe 1 in November. So if I'm making projections, I'll sort of go across the board. From January 1st to now, the S&P 500 is up about 12%. I think it will be closer to 30% by the end of the year, in my opinion. Okay, so that means we have 18% upside in the S&P 500. We'll see how that goes.
Okay.
Mortgage rates, I believe, and I said this on here and then in a different podcast, that I think it's going to be between 6.9 and 7.2 at the end of the year.
Yep.
I think the 10-year Treasury will be right at 4% at the end of the year. So, judging by where we are now, that's not a whole lot of movement in the 10-year Treasury and the mortgage rate. I think they will be almost identical to where they are now. I think we will have one rate cut probably in November. That's my opinion. And by rate cut, I mean the federal funds rate.
Which might not really cut the mortgage interest rate.
It depends on, and remember,
that's what people don't understand.
The 10-year Treasury rate is forward-looking. So if Jerome Powell comes up there and says, hey, the Federal Reserve Committee has decided to lower the central bank interest rate by 0.25%. So that's all well and good, but that has already been reflected in the 10-year Treasury.
Right.
Okay, because remember, it's forward-looking, speculative.
Right.
Now, if he says in the next 3 months we will have 6 rate cuts, the 10-year Treasury will bottom out and interest rates will go to mid-5s.
Right.
But if he said, it's all based on what's called guidance. So his guidance is what changes the 10-year Treasury rate, really.
Yeah.
So if he gets up there and says, hey, we're going to lower it a quarter point, but we won't do anything until May, it won't move. It might go a little bit, but it won't move. And it all depends on, as far as the Federal Reserve, what employment looks like, or unemployment looks like, what inflation looks like. Because what's happening is inflation is sticky, but it's not in the same things. Like we all know when eggs were $5 a dozen. Now those have come back down, but insurance is off the charts, and that's influencing inflation. Home ownership, the cost to buy a home is influencing inflation. So we have these like spikes of different things that contribute to the increased cost of living. And I don't think that's going away in this calendar year. So your original question was, what does the next 6 months look like? I think the 10-year Treasury will be nearly unchanged. I think the mortgage rate will nearly be unchanged. I think the stock market will continue to bring incredible returns for anyone that participates. And because we see this widening between the two Americans that we talked about,
yes,
the one that is asset rich and the one that is asset poor, I really think that divide will be even wider. And I think that, hardship withdrawals on 401ks will continue to go up. I think that credit card debt, which is now at $1.1 trillion, the highest in history, will continue to go up. I think that this divide will get worse until something breaks. Now, I'm not saying something will break, but I really think that we will still see this soft landing in the stock market. But it's not a soft landing for the normal consumer. I think, again, the divide will get wider. Things will continue to get more expensive. Savings rates will continue to decline. And I don't see an end to that. I don't want to go too far in advance because, as you know, the longer you extrapolate, the less likely it is to be true. The next 6 months, we will continue at the rate we've had so far this year with the widening of that divide. And the people who, like myself, invest in things will continue to make record profits on assets.
I totally agree with you. I don't know as much about some of those things, but I feel it's just kind of status quo for sure for now. Probably for the next year. We'll see though. We don't anything could happen. So happy to have you on again, Bruce. Yes. Such great information. I strongly encourage you, if any of this, strikes a nerve or you want more information, reach out to Bruce. He's amazing. His passion and his life experience speaks volumes for the amount of value you'll get from him. So,
well, I have to return the compliment because someone who takes such time and effort to educate not only their agents, but agents at large on YouTube about how to run their business better, about the economics, bring people on to bring value, you're among very little people who do what you do. So you
appreciate that.
So follow her if you haven't. So, but yeah, always great to be here, and I'll come back anytime to bring.
I was going to say, until next time, you're here. We can't wait to have you on next to see kind of what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how close I am with these projections.
We'll hold you to it.
All right. See you next time.
Yep. Gotcha.